Hello, my friends. Welcome to Endless Lives, where you're worthy, you're blessed, and you are a creator. That's right. You're worthy, you're blessed, and you are a creator. Hello, I'm Brother Charles, your host, and we have fantastic topics that we discuss. And we have another fantastic topic for discussion for you today. But before we get into our discussion, let me say this. If today is the day that you arrived upon the planet, let me say happy birthday to you. That's right. Happy birthday. Why? Because you are somebody. That's right. God didn't make any junk. God didn't make any junk. Religion's got people so mixed up. They go around saying that they're not good enough, they're unworthy, and they're bad, but that's not true. You deserve the best. Why? Because God didn't make any junk. You're worthy, you're blessed, and you are a creator. That's right. You have the power of God within you to create certain situations. That's right. You didn't know that. No, you're looking around outside looking for a man up in the sky, but in all actuality, the creator is everywhere. The creator is in you also. But before we get into our discussion, let me say this. If today is the day that you arrived upon the planet, happy birthday to you. That's right, happy birthday to you. Why? Because you are somebody. You deserve the best. Okay? Stop giving yourself good things. Stop condemning yourself and putting yourself down. You are somebody. Don't buy into other people's lies and opinions about you because you are somebody. We have another fantastic topic for discussion for you today. And we like to build our discussions on biblical principles and scriptures, and today is no different. We have another fantastic topic. Today, we're going to have for our discussions coming out of the Old Testament. And the book in the Bible they're going to be used will be 2 Chronicles 7 and 14. 2 Chronicles 7 and 14. Well, it's a very familiar passage. If you're familiar with the Bible, it says, if my people, which are called by my name, and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal the land. Now notice, here's the condition. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves, then will I hear from heaven. No, humility is very important. And the thing is said, and turn from their wicked ways. Ways. Our topic for discussion today is ways. Consider your ways. You know, there was a song about the Temptations back in the 60s about the way you do the things you do. That's right. The ways you are, ways tell a great deal about you. You know, if people say, well, I just don't like that person. Why? Because it's just the way. It's something about them I just can't stand. No, it's their ways that you don't like. It's their ways that you're not familiar with. And once you get to know that, then you will begin to understand, oh, I thought that was a terrible person, but now you understand their ways. So it's very important that we understand how our ways affect us in everyday life. Consider the way you speak to people, the way you conduct your business affairs, the ways. Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the light. You know, ways. So case in point. So how do we get out? This is the way out. How do I get out of this particular situation that I am? This is the way out. Jesus says, I am the way. How do I get out of certain things? The way out, the way out, the way in, the way. How did I get into this mess? The way that you did that. The way you do the things you do. This is very important. The way we conduct our affairs, the way we speak to people, the way we carry ourselves. It's our ways that people don't like. I know from personal experience, I've been around individuals that have many degrees, very intelligent individuals, but nobody wants to be around them. Why? Because of their ways, the way they conducted themselves, the way they spoke to people. You know, it's the way you do things that you do. Really is a turn off or a turn on. That's the way you do things. There's a story in the Bhagavad Gita, not shall we say in reference to the Bhagavad Gita, which is a holy book over in India, and it tells the story of two men and a prostitute. That's very interesting. Two men and a prostitute. These two guys, every week they would go down to the prostitute. They would go down to the prostitute, to the house of prostitute, two men. And so they go see the prostitute. So on their way there, one guy heard this individual. They were speaking about things of Bhagavad Gita, and they were talking about a higher way of life, spiritual way of life. And so this guy said, I'm not going to go to the prostitute today. I'm going to listen at this spiritual teaching. So he doesn't go to the house of prostitution. And so the prostitute, the other guy said, I'm going. So he goes on. And there's a very interesting thing that evolved between the two men. One man, the one that went to hear the spiritual teaching, said, well, I bet he's having the time of his life. I think that guy, he probably made the right decision. He's having a good time. Here I am up here listening to some teachings. And so the other man that went to the house of prostitution said, well, I really do think that guy, he made the right decision. He's listening to something that's going to be fundamental good for him, something that's good for him. I think he made the right decision. And so now we have a paradox here. Both men are thinking about each other, but in a different way of thinking, a manner. They're both thinking about each other. So now, what transpires is that the whole deal behind that thing, like the guy that was saying, well, I'm going to hear this spiritual teaching where I can become better. We think that because we do good deeds that, we're going to be okay. Karma won't get us. Most people get karma mixed. What you do, what you sow is what you reap. Good things or bad things, it's going to come back to you. So we get that mixed up. So this guy was thinking in terms of karma. It'd be good for me to do this because it's going to look good for me. The other guy that goes into the house of prostitution, I really don't feel good about that. Some bad problem going to happen to you because I didn't go listen to the other side. This is another karmatic reasoning, shall we say, that the individual looked at. And so he goes on. So now these two individuals, both were thinking in different terms. This is how the mind works. The mind is very powerful. And so now, but the whole thing was in reference to karma. Most people think because they do bad things are going to happen. And that is true. But let's go beyond the bad things. Let's go to the intention. That is the main thing that karma deals with, is your intention. You might go and feed the homeless during the holidays. Well, that's a good thing to do. Yeah, that's okay. But were your intentions pure? Did you do this without any judgment or any reservation? Whether it's good or bad, you just did it because you love to do good things. See, let's look at our intention is what's going to be on hold here. Your intentions are what takes place. Now, in the story in the Bible, there's a story of some men that went to meet the men of God, Elijah. You find that story over in 2 Kings 1, 10 through 12, 2 Kings 1 through 10 through 12, whereas the king heard that the man of God approached him and told his messenger, said, look, tell his boy, since he implied to this our God, he's down sick, so he won't get off his bed, he's not going to make it. So the king sent out 50 men, said, go to that man, bring him to me. So he sent out his captain, 50 men. He said, if you be the man of God, you need to come with me. And Elijah says, if I'm the man of God, let fire come down out of heaven and consume. And sure enough, they got consumed. Fire came down out of heaven. And the same thing happened to the second 50, and they got consumed. Fire came down out of heaven and got them. The third captain told me, he said, look, he asked him, he said, oh, man of God, have mercy on me and my people, me and my men, don't spare our lives, And the spirit told us to go with him. You don't have to fear him, okay? Now, very interesting, because the third man had enough sense to come in humility and ask him to come. See, it's the way you do things. It's the way you approach people. It's how you speak to people. It's how you treat people. Don't ever get so high up on the pole that you look down your nose at people. Don't ever devalue. I don't care who it is. Always treat people with respect. See, the way you do the things you do. See, people are going to deal with you not by how much money you got or how many degrees behind your name, but they're going to remember how you treated them. The way you do the things you do. How we take care of our business affairs, how we treat our neighbors, how we treat our spouses, how we do things determines a great deal about us. How you take care of your children, how you treat your children when they're small. It's the environment that you bring your children up in. I know right now we are having a rash of crime in the area of the nation that I live in, and it all comes down to one thing: origins. See, if you don't put some values into children when they're small, the Bible says, train up a child the way that they're to go. And when they're old, they won't depart from it. Now, of course, in my lifetime, I have experienced this, that there's no respect. There's nothing being put into a lot of little children, and therefore they come up just as wild as they can be. They don't care anything about you. No, they don't respect us. Nobody, they don't respect us. Why? Because of the environment. Now, we're going to have to cut this short, my friend, because, but here again, let's re-emphasize one thing. The way you do things tells a great deal about your character and who you are. So be careful how you do things. Consider your ways. Maybe I could have some improvement. Maybe I can add on to the goodness that I'm doing. Consider your ways and be careful not to be offensive to anyone, but consider the way you do. It's your ways that people are attracted to. Thank you, my friends, and may the good Lord bless you. May love, joy, peace, and happiness forever be with you as you walk upon this good earth that God has given us. And my friends, remember, we thank you for tuning in. We thank you for tuning in. Remember, you are somebody. God didn't make any jump. Give us a thumbs up on this and tell someone else about this particular program. We thank you, and may God bless you.